What's going on YouTube? Claic here again with another Final Fantasy Brave Exvius banner review. And now we're going over Aileen, Sozhe, Ulrica, some Black Mage. We're going to talk about all these people and what makes Aileen so good and why she's part of the Holy Trinity when she first was released in Japan, and what the other characters could bring for you if they bring anything. So let's get started, and I hope you guys enjoy. First unit up is a 3-star base going up to 5-star in Ulrica. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Let's talk about the Trust Mastery and Resuscitate. That's going to put up your attack, defense, and magic by 60% if your HP drops below 50%. So, you know, if you get hit really hard, you go below 50%, it's going to give you a really good buff with 60% to all stats. However, you know, you're going to have to get hit that hard. Maybe this goes good on a tank, and we've already gotten this somewhat like this materia from a King Mog shop when the, you know, Brave Frontier collab was here. Thank you guys for telling me about that in the comments. And so, yeah, so I would rate this to low. Maybe move it up to mid-tier maybe one day for a tank, possibly. But other than that, kind of low tier, you don't really want it. Limit Burst, Wild Awakening, physical damage 2.7 times multiplier, and then she's going to buff herself by 300% to her attack. And my god, if this could be on anybody else but Ulrica. I'm not really going to go over Ulrica too much into detail because Ulrica literally does this. She has one move that has a really low physical damage multiplier. The rest, she does nothing but counter. So she has to counter to do anything. And the counter hits aren't even that good. So that's what makes her bad. I mean, I don't really know who designed this unit. I don't like it. I don't like that she's like this wildling that can only counter, and she doesn't really have anything else to bring to the kid. So let's get into the rankings. It's going to be a 1 out of 10 on the global for me. I hate the way it's designed. I hate that you have to take a hit to be able to do anything in the first place. Not good for me. Like, she's useless on the first turn. I mean, she could do the 1.2 whatever. I can't remember the multiplier, but it's really low attack to get hit and maybe heal herself, even though you're probably going to heal her anyway. She only goes with 5-star base, so she's going to get knocked the fuck out because her health pool isn't that large enough, and her defense spirit. Anyway, 65 out of 100 on JP. And finally, she's a bad unit. Counter that, Ulrica. Next unit on the banner is another 3-star base going up to 5-star base in Heltich, or Heltich, whichever way you want to say it. And it's a dude, by the way. Learn that. Smart. Let's talk about the Trust Mastery form. Heretic Abyss. It's going to be magic and MP plus 15%. And then Dark Resist, buff 20%. So your Dark Resist is going to be able to go up by 20%. Plus, you're going to get a little bit of MP on top of the magic it gives you. Now, you may be thinking, well, that's not the most magic we can get. Like, Shantota gives us 30%. There are other teams out there that give us more. However, this game is going to move into a space where we're going to want to have a little defense and sacrifice of offense. And I think this is a very good one because it is also giving us MP for magic dealers. On top of the fact that throwing a little bit of Dark Resist buff on us too, which is never going to hurt. Just in case there's another try out there that has a Dark God beating on us, this is really cool. So, very interested in this TM for my mages, and I'm going to give it a mid-tier to high-tier depending on if you use mages and if you're going against. It's very situational, but it could be very useful for you and things like that. So let's look at the Limit Burst Despair. Single target dark magic damage, 2.7 times multiplier, and then it's going to give you a 40% chance to inflict blind, silence, or disease on the target. Okay, so it's single target dark magic, adding a little bit of dark magic to her, and then it also gives her a little bit of a status element to put on a target. So overall, I think it's an okay Limit Burst. Not the best, but it adds a little bit to his kit and doing damage. So let's talk about the attack abilities real quick. We have Lightning, Wind, and Earth Magic in his elemental kit. So that's going to be Thundaga, Aeroga, and then Stonega. He's going to be able to use. And then he has Beast from the Abyss, Dark Magic, 2.5 times all. That's a multiplier of 2.5 times. That's going to be a dark magic. So on top of having lightning, wind, earth elemental damage, going to have a little bit of dark damage on there, which is cool. Netherclaw is just a flat, no element magic attack, 2.3 times multiplier to all. So just in case you don't want to be adding any of those elements to his attacks, he does have one that's element free. Let's talk about the passive abilities on him. He has Dark Curiosity, which I thought was interesting. You know how most like 5-star base going to 6-star units have that MP recovery by 5%? Well, Heltich gets a recovery by 3% every turn. So that's going to help Heltich be casting all the spells that he needs to be doing some damage. Problem with Heltich is doesn't go to 6-star, and compared to other mages like Kefka, Extef, these are 3-star bases. You know, Kefka, Extef, Terra. It just doesn't shine. Can't stand up to him. There are other ones that even get dual black magic cast that don't go to 6-star. So that's what's going to be wrong with Heltich here. Let's talk about the support abilities. Magical Awakening. He's going to be able to buff himself by 200% for one action on the next turn. So what he's going to do is buff himself, his magic by 200%, and then unleash hell on somebody with one magic hit, which I think is kind of interesting. So he's kind of got like a wax on, wax off kind of thing going on for him. He's going to wax on that buff, and he's going to wax off the enemy's health. Nice meme, right? Anyway, let's talk about the rankings. I'm going to give Heltich a 3 out of 10 on global. You know, we're going to have to compare him to all the other units. Are you going to put him on your team? No, I don't think, if you have these other units. I mean, he's a cool black mage if you're just starting out. But then again, there are all these other 3-star bases you probably drew that may be taking your place. He got a 70 out of 100 on Japan there. And then as for the ranking, I'm going to give him why they make cool units look bad. Like, why do they make them so bad? Like, Gumi, Alim, Square Enix, you make these cool-ass units that look awesome like this black mage, but they bad. I want them to be good. Please. The next unit up we're talking about is Sozhe, the Emperor, the badass looking guy. Look at that armor. Look at that sword. He, you know, he comes in at a 4-star base going up to 6-star, and he's a tanky DPS for us. Let's look at the Trust Mastery. Emperor's Majesty. HP and attack plus 20%, recover MP 3% per turn. So like we were just talking about, this TM is sacrificing a little bit of attack percent. We're talking about the attack 30%, so it's 10% attack, to add also HP 20%, and then MP recovery. So again, eventually we're going to have to be sacrificing a little bit of offense. We can't go Glass Cannon, even though I love Glass Cannon builds, because some of these bosses will mess us up if we don't have anything like this. Plus, the MP recovery is nice per turn. It's adding us so we can do a lot of more moves. So I'm going to give this a high tier, awesome TM, actually. I remember the days when attack 20% were the best thing we had. So attack 20%, HP 20%, MP 3% recovery. Sign me up. Let's talk about the Limber Burst. Imperial Raid. Physical damage to all. That's going to be a 2.7 times multiplier with ignore defense 50%. So not too bad. He's going to be able to hit an AoE move that has a pretty high multiplier on it, but nothing to, you know, ride home to. Just another damaging, you know, Limber Burst there. Let's talk about the attack abilities that Sozhe has. Siege Zoldad. He is the Emperor of Zoldad, after all. Fire physical damage, and you'll learn that's a thing going with him. He loves fire. 1 time multiplier to all, and then it's going to increase fire resist for your whole party by 40%. So not only is he hurting the enemy with fire damage, he's also buffing up your team, which is awesome. This is kind of an attack support ability. Then he has on fire, physical damage, fire, 2.1 times multiplier, and then it adds fire to all physical attacks for 5 turns. So this is a way to, like, make sure that all of his attacks, even if they're not doing fire physical damage, they do in the end because he uses this, okay? Then he has Hell Shaft, which is his big physical damage ability. Fire damage, fire physical damage, 2.3 times multiplier with an ignore defense of 25%, then has a 30% chance to paralyze. So this is his big move, I do believe, his most damaging move he has, and it also has a 30% chance to paralyze, which comes in handy. I mean, if you guys were doing the last event, paralyzing the last boss was really important, so that's pretty awesome for him there. Let's talk about the support abilities. I did say he was a tanky DPS. He does have Provoke, so he actually has Provoke in his kit. It doesn't have to come from Golem. Increased chance of being hit by 70%, so you can pull the attacks to him, okay? He has Defense Order. Increased defense and spirit by 40% to everyone for 3 turns. You know, this is a cool move, however, and again with Provoke too, you know, Sozhe can be like your off-tank DPS, and sometimes you may need to Provoke with him, but since we're getting it from Golem, and Golem is most of the time going on our tank anyway because of the HP stats that Golem does bring, it's kind of lost here in my opinion. Defense Order, same thing. It's cool that he's bringing these, and it's awesome. It does add to his kit, but your buffer is probably going to be doing that or more. So, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, it's like a middle ground. Boulder Stance, self-buff, defense and spirit by 60% for 5 turns. So if you know you're going to be taking hits and you know you want to provoke with him, you can buff him up his defense and spirit by 60% to make him tanky as hell. And that actually, most of the time, is better than what right now, our buffers can do. So pretty nice there. He also gets Finger Snap. I didn't list here. That's just a way to dispel if you need it, okay? Let's talk about his passive abilities. He has Demon and Dragon Killer. So he's going to be doing that fire damage. And if he's against a demon or a dragon, better look out. He's doing 50% more damage to them. And anytime a killer is put on somebody, it's amazing to me. Because that means when you have to fight a demon, you have to fight a dragon, that's going to be important because you're going to be doing way more damage to them. And he also has Zoldad Guard. Attack and defense 30% buff when equipped with heavy armor. So throw heavy armor on him. He's going to put his defense up and his attack up by 30%. For a tanky DPS, you're probably obviously going to be putting a heavy armor on him. So that's what you want to do there. And he has that move also just gives him 50% fire resist. So this guy is really good against fire. He can take fire hits, but the problem is he's going to be dealing fire. And most of the time, fire damaging people are resistant to fire. I don't know. It's going to be a little bit weird. So overall, what do I think? Excuse me. What do I think about Sozhe? I'm gonna give him a 7 out of 10 on global. He got an 89 out of 100 on JP. And what I think about him is he is more of an off-tank like Snow. He doesn't have any covering abilities. You know how Cecil can jump in front of somebody, and then Warrior of Light 6-star, when it eventually comes out, is going to be able to AoE cover everybody. He doesn't have that in this kid. He's also he has a really high HP pool, but he's just missing some of the things that make him an outstanding tank or an outstanding DPS. He's kind of in the middle, and sometimes when that happens, it makes him go down a peg. Not saying Sozhe is terrible. He's actually pretty good. He's just mediocre to pretty good. He's not amazing. He doesn't excel at anything greatly. So, you know, he's a badass looking, armor-wearing King Emperor of Zoldad, but he's also a pyromaniac who likes to burn shit to the ground. Last but not least is the second member of the Holy Trinity in Aileen. 5-star base going to 6-star physical damage dealing unit. Beautiful babe as she is with that pink hair. Trust Mastery is Artisan. It's a weapon. It's a spear. Lance. Attack plus 135, guys, with an earth element attached to it. That's a high-ass attack. This Trust Mastery is excellent for Aileen. It makes her shine. It is very key to having it on her, similar to like Sparky on, let's say, Olive. But it also could be used elsewhere, right? I mean, it's a weapon that gives you attack plus 135. Pretty damn strong, and not a lot of things are earth elemental resist, so that's awesome. So I would say I'm giving that high mega meta tier. Amazing TM and Artisan. Love it. Let's talk about the limit burst she has. Fatal Impact. Physical damage to 1, 2.9 times multiplier with ignore defense 50%. That's a big buttload of damage she's going to do in her limit burst single target. Very, very good. I would be using it quite a bit, especially if I leveled it up. It's going to be quite strong. Limit Gatherer is one of her attack abilities. That's the first one we're going to talk about. It's going to do physical damage, 1.8 times multiplier, with ignore defense 25%. And then it's going to increase your limit break gauge fill rate by 200%. So just in case you wanted to spam the Fatal Impact, you're going to be able to do that with this move. It's going to make your limit burst fill up even faster. That way, maybe on a boss, when you have a mission where you're going to have to use a limit burst at the end, use that. If it's not up, hit a couple times, get it all the way full, and KO the boss, knock it out. She also has Groundwork. Physical damage, 1.8 times multiplier with ignore defense 25%. Adds earth element to physical attacks for 5 turns. And this is going to be key here. If you don't have Artisan, if you don't have an earth elemental attack, the only ones that are in the game right now would be Artisan and then the Golem Staff. This is going to be important because Pile Driver is like Orlando's move. You know where Orlando will cut down the light resist and then do light damage? Pile Driver is similar to that. Where you want to do light damage with Orlando, you have to have a weapon in his hand. Pile Driver is similar to that, right? Physical damage, 2 times multiplier with ignore defense 50%. It's going to hit 5 times and decrease the earth resist of the target by 50%. The problem is, just like with Orlando, you need a weapon that has that element on it. So for, you know, Aileen, our only options are, you know, Artisan or Golem Staff, and we want to go with Artisan. But let's say you can't do that. Let's say you can't get that TM right off the bat. What you can do is use Groundwork to make all your physical damage abilities do earth damage. So you can do that first, then use Pile Driver. That way, when you're doing the dual wield, I'm assuming you're going to throw, like, you know, dual wield on her. That way, the second hit is doing earth damage, so it's taking advantage of that earth resist down, which is pretty awesome. Another thing I want to talk about Aileen right here, now that we're talking about Golem Staff, Aileen can literally equip everything. She can equip anything. Anything you want to throw on her, try it out. See what you like. She can wear everything. She walks into a shop, she walks out with everything. She can just put it all on. It's pretty awesome. Passive abilities for Aileen. She has Analysis. It's going to give her an attack % boost, but more importantly, it's giving her increased physical damage against machines and stones by 50%. She has Stone Killer, and she got Machine Killer. Mwah, love them killers on high damage, physical damage units. And then she also has Auto Refresh. Like most of the high tier units, 5% MP recovery between turns. We need that for, you know, long-term battles. Support abilities. She has Build Earth. Increase Petrify resist by 100% for 3 turns to all of her allies and her. So, this is going to be important in times when there's a boss that's going to petrify the shit out of you. You have no other way to look out for it. She brings that with her kit along with a buttload of damage. I love it. I love that she has this. It protects the party when you can't TM protect your party or, you know, accessory protect your entire party. She has Recovery Oil, which is kind of a mediocre heal, but that's going to happen over 3 turns. So you're going to throw that on your team, and then over 3 turns, you're going to heal a little bit up. So just in case you need it, it's there. We have Refreshing Tool, MP Recovery. Yes! We have MP Recovery on another person besides Noctis right now that's a physical damage dealer. I love it. Refreshing Tool. Mwah. It's going to do the same thing that Recovery Oil does over 3 turns, except for it's going to recover MP instead of HP, and that's way more rare, so I love it that it's on there. So that is Aileen in a nutshell. She hits super hard. She hits with her, you know, her spear weapon. She takes down the earth resistance. She chains well. Only with herself, though, so be aware of that. Like, she's kind of hard to chain with anybody else. She hits for only 5 times, and 2 Aileens will hit like a truck, though, if they both have Artisan equipped, things like that, okay? Let's talk about the free-to-play build, and this is just an example build, guys. The thing about Aileen, because she can equip so much stuff, is you just want to throw on your like, she doesn't have any masteries on herself either. So you kind of just want to throw on, until enhancements, you kind of just want to throw on whatever you have that is the strongest for physical damage dealers. So what I have here is I have Genji Blade. You get that from the Gilgamesh trial. Dragon Shield. That's a key reward for the new Aurora keys. And Dragon Shield is just amazing, guys. It gives you defense and then elemental resist 30% to 3 elements. I mean, it's awesome. We have Dark Helm because she can't equip this heavy armor and things like that. So we want to put that on her to make her tanky and give her some attack stats. Demon Mail comes from a trial. And then I'm going to put hero rings here. But essentially, you do anything, the best hero ring you have or the best accessory you have that, you know, can boost attack up. That's what you want to have. And then as far as, I'm not even listing the materia here, you can just slap on any attack percent you have on her, or if you need HP, you can throw HP on her, anything like that. Aileen has an amazing attack stat as it is, so those like a base after pots and stuff like that, so those attack percents are going to be very, very good on her and make her have a really high attack, okay? Now let's move over to the pay-to-play example build. This is the way I got it looking right now, guys. We got Genji Blade from the trial. We have Artisan, which is her TM. Reason we really want that is, one, it's a big-ass fucking weapon. On top of that, it has the earth element attached to it, so we don't have to do groundwork before we do pile driver. We want the Black Cowl from Hayate like normal. Brave Suit, Genji Glove, Bracer. You guys are used to all this stuff. And then also, if we're using a Katana, so in the materia, we're going to have to be using the Blade Mastery from Chizuru, and then we're just going to use, you know, Shine's TM all the way down the board. Again, this is up to you if you guys want to use things like, you know, Queen's TM, any attack 30% or attack 20%, HP 20% together, like in Sozhe's TM. That's just how you want to build her. Just build her attack. She's an attacking beast. It's awesome, and I really, really like her. So overall, is Aileen better than Orlando? I think it's really close. Better than Fravia? I think it's really close right now. I think they're both similar. I think they both need... I think Orlando is easier to chain with than anybody else. I think next up is Aileen is easy to chain with. And then Fravia is one of the harder ones to chain with due to her weird, you know, her weird data that they put into her weird frame rates. But that's fine. The ranking I'm giving Aileen, though, is a 10 out of 10 on global. She is that powerful. On JP, she's all the way up to 99 out of 100. And she's the top-ranked unit in JP right now because of her enhancements. And we're going to go over those real quick, because I want you guys to know about them. Even if they change them in global, they're just that amazing. So remember Analysis, how she had, you know, Machine and Stone Killer? Well, that's going to give her 75% now instead of 50 when you upgrade that. And there's more. If you upgrade Analysis again, it's going to give her a 50%. It's going to give her Lance or Spear Mastery. She's going to get 50% to her attack when equipped with a Spear or Lance, which is Artisan, which makes her insane. Next up, we're going to talk about she gets a boost to Pile Driver. Pile Driver was a 2x multiplier. Now it'll become a 2.5x multiplier with Ignore Defense 50%. And it's going to lower down the Earth Resist by 75%. And then it's going to hit 7 times instead of 5 times. Like, the enhancements they gave her were insane. Those are the ones I'm just going over right now. Just be aware of that. She is the top-ranked unit in JP right now. With all that stuff out. All those units out. So those enhancements are insane. I don't, you know, in global they may change. They may not. Who knows? But overall, she's a pink-haired babe that can take that Artisan and drill me anytime. I love her. So there you guys have it. That's the banner as a whole. Should you guys be pulling on the banner, it's not a good banner to pull for as in worth. It's not. The TMs are kind of, like I said, defensive, more not best in slot if you're talking about just attack. And, you know, the Sozhe is okay, but he's not like something you definitely need. And the other two are straight not something you want to be pulling for. But Aileen is amazing. She becomes even more amazing after enhancements. She becomes the best DPS in the game. And so it's kind of hard if you don't have a really great physical damage unit for me to tell you not to pull. But you're only really going to be pulling for Aileen unless you can fit Sozhe into your kit. So the banner's kind of mediocre besides the one shining unit, similar to Orlando banner. So that's what I'm going to say to you guys. Again, is Aileen better than Orlando? I don't think so yet. I don't think that she can get there yet. She doesn't have a lot of weapons for her. Besides her Artisan, which is amazing, but she gets there. She gets there eventually. You're going to need their Aileen to go with her. I do think she's better than Fravia, though. I just like her kit a lot better. So, if you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. Comment down below how you feel and how you rank the top 3. You know, Fravia, Aileen, Orlando, what order you like them in. And subscribe for future content. We'll catch you guys in the next video.